Look at all the Giants fans standing there at halftime with their fucking, in their flash mob and their pickaxes saying, we're going to win a game, we're going to win a game. No, you're not. I said wait till the second half. That's the New York Giant rule. See, the difference between the Giants and the Jets is the Giants give you hope that they may actually win the game, but you know in the back of the mind that, or in the back of your mind that they won't. The Jets don't give you that hope whatsoever. They just go out there and just say, let's put this together. Maybe we'll get lucky this week. Dak Prescott. Now, I honestly hate the Cowboys to death, but I never want to see anybody get hurt. So in all honesty, for his sake, my thoughts and prayers are with the Cowboys fans and Dak Prescott as well, hoping for a speedy recovery. You never want to see anybody get hurt or anything like that. The Titans, well, for some reason, the coronavirus said, let's infect the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully the Titans game will go on scheduled as we're told. NFL Week 5 review, go nowhere else. You know, we sit here and watch football sometimes and we all try to put it together. Some of these teams that go out there and play every week, it looks like they are not trying to win the football game. Right now, we have a Battle of New York where it looks like who is going to be the first New York team to win a damn football game. And we're not talking about Buffalo because Buffalo's a great team. Let's say New York City, okay? Who out of the New York football teams, Giants or Jets, do you trust more? I trust the Giants more than the Jets. I don't trust the Giants at all. But just as an example. What do I mean with that? I mean that there are so many teams now that have horrible records, and it looks like they're doing everything they can to not win games. This is the NFL Week 5 review. We're going to go over every single game as we always do. There are 2 games left of the week. Tonight, is LA Chargers against the Saints, which should be somewhat of a good game, considering that Justin Herbert has gone against legendary the guy has gone against, he debuted against Mahomes, then he went against Brady, now he's going against Breeze. And you know what? Justin Herbert looks pretty good so far. From what you can say from a quarterback standpoint. We are going to talk about all of these games, like I said. That is the first game. The first game today was supposed to be Denver, New England, but that got postponed. Coronavirus, as always. And tomorrow night is supposed to be Titans and Bills, which I'm looking forward to. Obviously, I got the Derrick Henry jersey on. I'm a Titans fan. So on and so forth. The first game we're going to talk about, we try to do these in order to an extent, is the Thursday night game. Now, we have to talk about Tampa Bay. A lot of people were saying Tampa Bay was going to be unstoppable coming into the season. I didn't think they're going to be unstoppable. I thought the offense was going to be unstoppable. But if we've learned anything over the last couple of weeks, it's that Tampa Bay's offense is not as good as we're giving it credit for. They didn't even win this game. Now, Chicago has looked a lot better this year than they have looked last year, and just in general. Now, they're obviously not a team that I don't see in the playoffs. But Chicago is starting to look like a little bit of a better football team. They're still not where they want to be. The quarterback situation is still far from solved. But they ended up winning this game. This was the Thursday night game, Chicago versus Tampa Bay. Tom Brady was human in this game. He had 253 yards and a touchdown. Tampa Bay had no problem running the ball with Ronald Jones, who had 106 yards. Nick Foles on the Chicago side, quarterbacking it, had 243 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Robinson had 90 yards. Allen Robinson, that is for Chicago, the wide receiver. The game came down to the end. Cario Santos, now I know him more so than most other people because he used to be a kicker for the Titans, who was not very good on the Titans, hit a game winner with about a minute left to give the Bears a 20-19 edge lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, why is a team like Tampa Bay losing to a team like Chicago? Why is Tom Brady not throwing for what he would throw for in New England? I'm not going to sit here and say Tom Brady's a system QB because I don't like that. I still think Tom Brady's good, but I don't think that he's right now, Tom Brady is doing what we thought he was going to do with this team. Another thing before I go forward, because I see it on the table, congratulations to the Lakers winning the NBA Finals. I know the NBA world has been complete chaos since everything has happened with the virus and the boycotts and just all of those things in general. But that's basically where we're at from that standpoint. Chicago wins this game. Tampa Bay is now 3-2. I don't know about the other things here, but we'll go over that as well. 1 o'clock, we are on to Sunday games now. Cardinals and Jets. I didn't think the Jets were going to win going into this game, and they didn't win going into this game, and they didn't win coming out of it. The Jets are absolutely miserable. They have absolutely nothing going for them. Fans are calling for Adam Gaze's head. Fire this guy, because that's what they need to do. They won't do it. For some reason, we're pushing into mid-October. The Jets have yet to win, and for some reason, Adam Gase is still the coach. Kyler Murray had 380 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. DeAndre Hopkins had a great game with 6 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Joe Flacco was in for Sam Darnold after a shoulder injury the previous Thursday on Thursday Night Football. 195 yards and a touchdown. Jamison Crowder was good for the Jets, though. He did have 8 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. But the Cardinals pretty much had this game from beginning, middle, and end. 30-10, the Cardinals get the win over the Jets. DeAndre Hopkins continues to have a very good time on the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray continues to show you a little bit of everything that he can do. The Jets are 0-5. They now join their New York counterpart as also 0-5. The difference between the Giants and Jets, like I mentioned, is that the Giants give you an idea that they may actually still do that. Speaking of the Giants, we're going to talk about this. Every Giants fan, this is the Giants and Cowboys, every Giants fan going into this game said there was a chance. And I even said the same thing. I personally said I would not be surprised to see the Giants have a chance to win this game. Did the Giants win this game? No. I said the Giants got off to a hot start. I think it was 17-3, 17-10. Halftime, the Cowboys had a 1-point lead, I believe. I didn't watch the game completely. But I said, watch out. Watch this game. Okay, watch the second half unfold. I want to give my condolences to Dak Prescott. He had an awful ankle injury, which will sideline him for what everybody's saying is the rest of the year. Andy Dalton comes in. Andy Dalton's an okay quarterback, but he certainly is no Dak Prescott. Puts the Dallas Cowboys into a very difficult position. And that's bad news for the Cowboys. Daniel Jones had 222 yards and absolutely nothing else. Darius Slayton is again showing that he is a good option for the Giants. 8 receptions, 129 yards. Prescott's awful injury. Elliott had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb had 8 receptions for 124 yards. Again, very good. And the Cowboys ended up winning this game with a late field goal, which gave them the win, 37-34. The Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Giants. I don't know what it means for the Dallas Cowboys in general, that they won this game. It means that the season is in very, very high doubt after what happened to Dak Prescott. They're actually showing it right here on SportsCenter. Hate to see it happen to anyone. Again, I can't stand the Cowboys. A lot of people can't. But I don't want to see that happen to anyone. Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback, and it's not something that you want to see. And it's awful. So we wish him a speedy recovery, and our prayers and thoughts are with him. But the Cowboys did get this win. NFC South matchup. Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons. Teddy Bridgewater had himself a very good game. 313 yards and 2 touchdowns. Robbie Anderson as well. 8 receptions, 112 yards. Matt Ryan had 228 yards, but it wouldn't be a Matt Ryan stat line if they didn't have a pick with it. He threw an interception as well. Todd Gurley had his first very good breakout game for the Atlanta Falcons. 121 yards and a touchdown. And then, of course, Calvin Ridley. What can you say about him? 8 receptions and 138 yards. When it was all said and done, though, the Panthers would get this win, 23-16. The Falcons remain winless, and Dan Quinn was fired either last night or this morning. I forgot when I got the notification. I think it was last night. And I'm actually looking on here now, not to change the subject about Dak Prescott. They're saying 4 to 6 months. So that's he's done for the year, of course. And it's going to be interesting to see where the Cowboys go from there. But as far as the Falcons go, Dan Quinn is fired. I think that should have happened sooner rather than later, but it happened. Dan Quinn is fired. The Falcons are still winless. They show some upside in this, but the team's got to work on their defense, and they definitely need a coach that can come in and make a difference. But that is where that hit. The next game was probably the upset of the week. Again, it depends on who you talk to. That's an AFC West matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs were 5-0 going in. There was really no reason to believe that the Kansas City Chiefs weren't going to win this game. You know, the Raiders have shown some upside this season. But now, this is an upset. The Raiders beat the Chiefs. The Raiders have upset the Saints, and now they've upset the Chiefs. Are the Raiders a wild card candidate? It looks like that could be the case, but the AFC has a lot of people that are grinding towards the top right now, and I think an AFC wild card spot is going to be very hard to get. The Raiders will not win this division, but the Raiders had no problem putting up points, and they ended up beating the Chiefs. So we didn't really expect to see that. Derek Carr had 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Josh Jacobs, 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Henry Ruggs, again, 2 receptions, 118 yards and a touchdown. We get to the Kansas City stat line. It's 340 yards for Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Travis Kelce, a very big game, 8 receptions, 108 yards and a touchdown. The Raiders had a very scoreful, impactful fourth quarter, which propelled them to the win. 40-32, the Raiders would beat the Chiefs. Now, me personally, I didn't see this coming. I don't think anybody did. I didn't think the Chiefs were not going to finish undefeated. But I didn't expect, I did not expect Kansas City to drop their first loss to the Raiders. Maybe that means one of 2 things. The Chiefs aren't as good as we thought they were, which I don't think is the case. Or the Raiders are better than we actually thought they were, which I think is the case. Battle of Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Now, the Eagles played better than I thought they would in this game to an extent. I didn't think they were going to win. Pittsburgh is starting to look like a team that is back on its heels again, and it looks like a legitimate contender to win, maybe even the AFC North now. I think everybody was rallying towards Baltimore, but if we really look at how Pittsburgh is playing, since Ben has come back, we have to understand something here, that the Steelers could actually win this division, and a lot of people weren't thinking that. I wasn't. Carson Wentz had 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and again, he has to throw 2 interceptions for that. Miles Sanders, not a bad stat line, 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Fulton for the Eagles had 10 receptions, 152 yards, and a touchdown. Ben himself had 239 yards and 3 touchdowns, another good stat line. And Chase Claypool continues to be good for the Steelers. 7 receptions, 110 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Pittsburgh Steelers would get the win 38-29. They remain undefeated going into the heart of October. Next week they play, I have no idea what they play next week. One of the things I should probably look at before I do these videos is probably who some of these teams play next week. But again, Philadelphia, you can be a little bit optimistic that they played a little bit better. But Philadelphia just doesn't look right. They don't look right now. They should be a lot better than they're playing. Where you want to point that finger at, that's completely up to you. But me personally, I don't see the Eagles right now as playing to the standpoint that they should be playing to. And the Steelers are playing great. 4-0 for the Steelers, 1-3-1 for the Eagles. The next game, I have absolutely 0 stat lines to go over whatsoever. It's the Rams taking on Washington football team. These are the stats I have from this game. Jared Goff had 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, and that is it. I didn't feel like any other stats throughout the game had any type of importance. The Rams obliterate the Redskins. The Rams obliterate the football team 30-10. Okay. All right. Next. Again, the NFC East is a garbage tank. We all know this. It's not news, you know what I'm saying? The NFC East is a garbage tank. The Redskins are not... Football team's awful. I do know that they play the Giants next week, and I am going to pick the Giants to win that game. Giants will get their first win next week. That's what I think in Week 6. But as far as everything else goes, yeah, that's it. Rams continue to look good. Good for them. They played the football team. Doesn't mean much. And that's that. AFC North matchup. Now, I expected so much more from Cincinnati than what we actually got. I'm actually disappointed in them. I did not think that they were going to get the win over Baltimore, but I actually thought that they could have given us a lot more than what we got. That's the Bengals going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Joe Burrow had 183 yards and a pick. Nothing big on that. Lamar Jackson had 180 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And Marquise Brown was a good receiver for Baltimore with 6 receptions, 77 yards and a touchdown. The Bengals didn't really seem to stand much of, if any, of a chance in this game. They looked absolutely atrocious. 27-3, the Ravens completely annihilate the Bengals. The Bengals have the works of what could be a good team in the future, but they are not there yet, and it shows. They are nowhere in the AFC North. The AFC North is honestly the best division right now. You have Cleveland at 4-1, Pittsburgh undefeated, and Baltimore at 4-1, I believe, as well. So Cincinnati is the lone wolf in the AFC North right now. AFC South matchup, I was wrong about this one. I thought for some reason I was going to give Jacksonville a little bit more credit than they actually got going into this game. And boy, was I wrong. Jacksonville going to Houston to take on the Texans. Texans are winless up till this game. Minshew had 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. Watson, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks. Johnson had a nice day running the ball for 96 yards. Brandon Cooks as well, 8 receptions, 161 yards, and a touchdown. Houston would look very good in this game. Not perfect, but much better. 30-14, Houston would get the win. I don't know, for some reason I put the faith into Jacksonville to win this game. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was. But you know what? I was wrong. Life goes on. Dolphins and 49ers. Wow. I actually said in my preview and prediction that I thought that the Dolphins had a chance in this game, and they had much more than a chance. This was the biggest blowout of Week 5 up to this point. Ryan Fitzpatrick looked like a complete monster. He had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, only missed 6 passes. Preston Williams as well, 4 receptions, 106 yards and a touchdown. Jimmy Garoppolo, from what I'm told, was benched in this game. He didn't complete the game. And the Dolphins literally blood bashed the 49ers, 43-17. Miami is just a team I don't get. They look a lot better this year than they did last year, but I don't have enough faith to put into them for them to be anything. The AFC right now is just, the AFC is going to be tough. The teams that come out of the AFC are going to be strong this year. And I'm not saying Miami's one of them because I don't think they are, but they looked really damn good yesterday, and I'll give them credit on that. Again, the 49ers have had some missing players and stuff, but they're also 2-3. Colts and Browns. Now, this was a good game going in. A lot of people were looking forward to this game because, to be honest, the Colts have been pretty good, and the Browns have been a lot better than people have expected. Phillip Rivers, 243 yards, and for some reason, Phillip Rivers has to throw multiple picks every single game. Baker Mayfield is the same way. 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Jarvis Landry, I think, had 4 receptions for 88 yards. Cleveland won this game. It was somewhat of a close one. I picked Indianapolis to get the win, but Cleveland did win it, 32-23. The Cleveland Browns are now 4-1 on the year. Again, let's not put all our eggs in a basket, but they look a lot better. Baker Mayfield doesn't look a lot better, but the Browns look a lot better. And we'll see what happens. But eventually, if we get to a point where Cleveland is 6, 7, 8-1, then it's got to be like, all right, you know what? Like, maybe this team needed to just adjust a little bit. But I don't know if I see that happening completely. But that is that there. Your final game of your NFL Sunday was Minnesota and Seattle. And if you stayed up to watch the end of this game, then you enjoyed yourself. Minnesota and Seattle. Minnesota was 1-3 going in. Seattle was undefeated. Kirk Cousins had 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Madison ran the ball for Minnesota, 112 yards. Thielen had 9 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson had 217 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. He also rushed for 58 yards on the ground. DK Metcalf, of course, 6 receptions, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This game was led by Minnesota up until the very end. Russell Wilson had a 2-minute drive towards the end of the game. I don't know how much time was left when he scored, but they scored on their final possession, and it was a nice score from Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, which propelled them ahead of the Minnesota Vikings 27-26. The Seahawks remain undefeated. Again, tonight, Chargers Saints. Tuesday, Titans Bills. I wanted to get this review out there before then, but I appreciate everybody for watching, as always. I hope that you continue to stay safe.